That's worse. Right. Here, Kami, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that when I got started. Levels. That's not as quiet as you can go. Also, I thought autoplay was on. There's definitely a better sound mix. Sorry, I always forget what it is. We can actually app volume and device preferences. That's the one. I should probably set up. So, well, if I'm going in order, I can do the save states as I go, so it doesn't really matter. Let's keep. Alright, this one isn't needed. I didn't make much of a plan. I just thought I'd better do this at some point. I have with the other couple of ones after I've got the record and then not played them for ages. So what is the plan? Probably close the browser because the stream can't handle it. Good one. God damn it. Alright, I'm having game sound, whatever. After all that. Too laggy. What am I going to do? I haven't played this game since I got the record. Okay. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the chat or anything. I'll keep saying as I go along if more people join. Because there'll always be stuff I won't think of. I feel like something is missing from the stream layout, but I think it's just a timer. I don't think I'll have the camera. I'm sitting on a sofa, it's dimly lit. Oh, cool. Cool. Okay. Okay, I'm starting. This is going to be my guide on how to speedrun any % Sonic 1 while I still remember what to do. I'm sure I'll think of a better intro that I'll be able to cut and put before this, but I'll just start out straight with the first stuff. I don't know whether I just want to say like literally every jump in the flipping. No, I still haven't planned this one enough. Hang on. I don't know if I want to say every single jump in just normal movement, or if I'm just going to go over the detailed glitches in detail. Okay. Here's the plan, to try and make it not ridiculously long. I'm sure it'll still end up being like an hour or something through the whole game. To try and make it not ridiculously long, I'm not going to say every single jump through normal levels for normal movement. I'll definitely go and get into massive detail for the important parts. So okay, try again. Here's going to be my Sonic 1 any % guide. Before I forget everything, and I'll start straight into it, but not explaining all these tiny individual jumps. You can see exactly what I'm pressing on the inputs. All I'm doing is literally pressing jump in these places, so there's nothing detailed to say about them. Just to make this not be ridiculously long. Hold jump as you hit that guy to make sure you bounce all the way over, roll as soon as the slope starts. The loop jumps are the most important thing, I'll talk about those. You're looking for a 25 on the in-game timer here for level 1. So you want to loop jump about at 45 degrees on each of the slopes, so 45 degrees over here while you're in the loop obviously. And then 45 degrees on that top left quarter slope up there. So that you kind of cut both sides of the loops off, you come straight up and straight down. And hold down while you're doing it. You should roll through here with a lot more speed. And the next most important part of level 1 is that jump. So without hitting the speed cap, because if you hold right while going over the maximum running speed, you'll be snapped back down to the maximum running speed. And since you're faster than it coming out of these slopes, you don't want to hold right yet. So without holding right, did I say you could see my inputs? Because there we go. Right. Without holding right, as soon as you get to here, anywhere between one frame coming out of the pipe and about here, hold jump without pressing any directions. So you stay above the speed cap, but you jump over this section. And you should land either here, here, or if you're lucky, down here. Still don't hold right when you land, just let Sonic run. And then about as you need to jump over these spikes, will be where you start holding right, because you'll have slowed down enough to be under the speed cap again by that point, so start holding right, and a final jump here, and roll down the last slope to end the level. Looking for a 25. It is possible to get 24s, you can do 3 loop jumps, a third loop jump on the kind of last slope of the loop. But that's ridiculously tight and IL thing. I haven't got a 24 before. Starting off here, you can always, there's also I'm going to explain the way I do things, but there's always going to be a couple of other ways unless it's literally frame-specific glitches. But for general movement like this, there's going to be other ways, so you can find your own ways over here. But for me, as soon as I start level 2, I am holding right. I wait until I see that Sonic has moved 2 pixels or more before I do a full jump, and that will land you on top of the rock instead of being just before the rock. As soon as you're on top of the rock, do another full jump, and then I let go of right and jump over here so that you land perfectly in this gap without hitting the spring. Hold left and do a little tap jump over the spikes. So there's two ways of doing this. If you want to do it the normal way, you land over here. As soon as you land over here, hold right and jump. It's nice to hold right a frame or two before you jump. I'm not sure it particularly matters here, but I suppose I'll talk about fast acceleration now. At the start of each level, as soon as the level starts, if you want to save a couple of frames, and I really mean just a couple of frames, unless you're on Marble 1 where it's more like 10 frames. If you want to save a couple of frames, you actually want to hold left as soon as the level starts, and then right, and then jump forwards. Oh, I also should have said at the start of level 1, you accelerate faster by jumping instead of just running forwards. For some reason. So yeah. If you ever like come to a stop by bonking into something, if you want to start running the way you should be faster, you should probably be jumping. So same thing as you come down here, so you've fallen down here, you right and jump to accelerate as fast as you can to the right, because you need to be going at maximum speed and roll as late as possible to get through every block of that wall. And then as soon as you break the last block of this wall, you want to jump, and that will land you on top of the box, so that you're not just stuck in roll and you have to wait to break out of the roll. Because unfortunately in this game, whenever you roll, you don't have control over Sonic anymore until he stops rolling. Like, you can jump, but you can't change any directionals. You can slow down and speed up slightly, but it's like, you get no control. So, to do the rest of level 2, you will need speed shoes. Helpful resource for learning the game also, level select, in case you didn't know. Up, down, left, right, A and start. So, after you've rolled through the wall, you jump on the last block that you break, land on the speed shoes, and then I'll show you the rest of it quickly, because once you have the speed shoes, you want to kind of keep going with the, keep going through the whole of the level without stopping to be able to, you know, keep the flow going. Don't bonk on those spikes. And I should explain the other way of getting through that section after that. So, hit the speed shoes, I jump here, either bounce off that guy. If you do bounce off that guy, you have to hold jump to land here, or I land just after that guy and do a little jump here. Full jump here, you land up here, jump over those. Fish will be on a different cycle if you go there at the earliest opportunity. And then, yeah, I really can't explain this jump by jump, I have to do the whole level, like, as one. There's no way I can slow down unless I actually, like, emulate a pause and go frame by frame, which I'm sure I do for other things. But yeah, again, you can see my jump inputs, so... Oh wow, this is not a good example. So that's one way of getting through the wall. I suppose before I move on from the wall, I'll explain the other way of getting through the wall, which involves landing on a buzz bomber and then clipping through it. So instead of falling all the way down to those monitors on the left, you can instead land on this guy and land in the wall like this. So this is where you can do a level wrap, but there's a 12% chance of it working. So if you hold right at this point, you'll be fast enough to zip off the left side of the screen, and then that'll cause Sonic's X coordinate to become negative, and the game will interpret it as a large positive one, and then it'll put you at the signpost, blah, yada yada yada. Hold right. You might hit those spikes because you didn't clip through the edge of the level boundary, or you might not. It's all pretty much luck. Like, I don't go for this in runs because there's nothing else you can do to make it any more consistent. So even if you break through the wall on the left side of the level there, all you have to do to try and attempt to survive the level wrap is to hold left here. Yeah, if you get like a 27 on Green Hill 1, you could try going for this instead of resetting. But yeah, most of the time this is going to happen. And that is because the death plane underneath the level rises up as you're off screen, and you need to be running left into the pipe that is near you at the end of the level, so that you rise up above the death plane, just above the death plane, as it rises up, and then it'll come back down as you come down, is the plan, but you know, that happens 12% of the time fairly randomly. Can't find a consistent method as of this date. And it only saves, I should probably level select instead, and it only saves 4 seconds over doing the level well, not the other way anyway, so, you know. So instead, oh, did I say level select? Instead of attempting the level wrap every time, which would be harrowing, if you choose to pass through the wall that way by clipping into it, you can instead either try and land so far on the right of the wall that you won't be zipping anymore. I should probably explain how zipping in a wall works as well at this point. So, when you're in a wall, if you touch a directional left or right, you will be pushed in the opposite direction at, I can't remember, like 14 pixels per frame or something ridiculously fast. So I tap right, 1 or 2 frames this is, I'm being pushed in the opposite direction really fast, because this is how collision works in the game. If you run into a flat wall, the wall is pushing back at you with a much harder... Well, the wall is pushing you back every frame with a much faster speed than you can run into it to ensure that you don't go into walls. But if you're already inside a wall, then the wall constantly pushes you back every frame that you're holding a direction in it. Try and get you out of it. So, if you land in this and don't want to go for the level wrap, all you need to do is tap left, and then as soon as you're out of the wall, tap right to hit the speed cap, otherwise you'll just go flying off to the rest of the level, but you want to collect these speed shoes. So, since the speed cap is so much slower than the speed you get flying out the wall, you want to slow down to it by tapping right first, and then hold left, so it's counterintuitive. This is what happens if you just hold left. I didn't, I hit right while I was still in the wall. Oh, the fly's not going to be there, so I have to do this again. This is why I should be using the save state I had set up. And if I'm putting this as a YouTube video, I'm definitely cutting bits out and editing it. So well. Oh my god, please level select. I never normally level select, so they have all the save states I need to practice, because I need to practice these levels. Alright. I actually tried that time. Cool, let's finish this level. I'll try and pause at opportune explaining moments as well. So, I like to land here on the wall, and this is far enough through the wall that you can't get zipped by it. If you hold right, you'll just walk out. And this allows you to roll just before you drop out of the wall, so you roll straight onto the box and break it. In order to roll in this game, you can't be holding any other directions, annoyingly, so if you're holding right and you press down, you won't roll until you let go of right. So you have to let go of right to make sure you roll off there. Once you have the speed shoes, I'll do the rest of the level and try and explain some things on the way. So the exact positions I'm jumping are the ones I normally use for this level, they're the ones that work for me. But there are plenty of other slightly different paths to get through that section. I suppose the only other thing... Oh yeah, I should show hitting the speed cap after zipping. So if I accidentally don't make it far enough through the wall, I'll hold left, press right, and that will hit me to the speed cap there. And then start holding left again once you've touched right and you're outside the wall. So you can go back and collect the box. So now I'll just try and pause in this one spot I want to explain. It's possible to jump over these spikes without bonking, it happens very rarely. And if you do it, you probably are forced to go a lower route around the loop instead of on top of it like I go here. But yeah, there's many different variations you can get a feel for it. The same as any normal movement for this game. The next place I want to jump is here, after holding right. after having enough speed from holding right since the spikes. I do a full jump here. That should land me on top of this extra life box. When you bounce on top of an object, you can either be holding jump or not holding jump, and if you're holding jump you get a big bounce, if you're not holding jump you got a little bounce. So for this one we want only a little bounce, so you want to not be holding jump as you hit the box, but you want to make sure you've been holding jump to get a full jump before that, so only as you're about to hit the box let go of jump. So pretend I've hit this box and I'm going flying off of the box. The next box I want to hit is actually on the tree on the left of the screen here that I've missed, but you saw me bounce off of it in the playthrough I just did. For that box you want to be holding jump, and you hopefully want to be further than halfway past the box, so you're bouncing off the right hand side of it kind of thing. If you're bouncing off the left hand side of the box, or if you see you're about to be bouncing off the left hand side of the box, it's safer actually to not hold jump to get a small bounce, because then you'll land on ground instead of plummeting to your death in the spikes like I'm probably going to do here. Yeah, you'll actually land exactly where I died there, but you'll come down just missing the left side of that platform that I'm underneath and go under there if you haven't bounced far enough on the right side of the box. So if you make it onto this platform, then you can just hold right and do the jumps to finish the level like I did before. And if you really far on bounce on the, if you're really far on the right to bounce off the box, then you'll land on this buzz bomber and get another bounce, which is even easier. So one last time, I'll move on to the next level. So let go, jump, hold jump, and there, land there. If you land there, you want to jump on that slope so you get momentum going upwards. So if you're jumping on an upward slope, your jump height will be higher. And if you're jumping on a downward slope, like I did for that final slope in this level, you get a kind of downwards jump that speeds you up slightly, a slope jump. So as long as you're still holding down and you jump on that final downward slope, you get a few frames saved. And the time, the in-game time you're looking for on that level is a 19, and then 18s are like ridiculously tight to get. But really anywhere under like 21 or under is good. And that's all I have to say about this level at the moment. I'll think of other things probably at some point. So, Green Hill 3, yeah, none of these levels have massive glitches, apart from if you're going for the level up, and then that's silly, why are you doing that? Green Hill 3, again, we want to start off each of these levels by doing basically a full jump as soon as you can. I don't know if it makes much difference, but I like to not collect this box in a tree right at the start, but if you do a full jump right at the start, you do collect the box. But either way, I don't think it matters. So I'll play through it and try and pause at the bits I'm explaining. This one's going to be harder to do step by step as well. So you want to jump just before that spring without bonking it, so you make it over to here. Then hold right all the way up the section. Roll as soon as the slope starts slipping downwards. Jump on this tiny upward slope, this very shallow slope going upwards, which does make a difference. So the goal is to not overshoot the spring, not undershoot the spring, but land exactly in the spring with that jump. The next jump you want to do is a full jump over here, or maybe slightly even before, like when you start hitting this bridge. Your full jump will get you just onto this corner, and as soon as you hit this corner you want to do a low jump, a little tap jump, like a couple of frames, to land on this box in the tree, which is speed shoes. You want to be holding jump as you land on that box to get a higher bounce off of it, so that you land on this platform. When you're on this platform, provided it's on the right cycle, if you haven't messed up any at the start of the level, then it'll be on a nice cycle to do this, then you can jump immediately off it to land here, a little jump to land on this slope. Run up this slope for a couple of frames here on this steepest part of it, and provided you're moving forwards fast enough already, you can now do a full jump off of that slope, and you'll land all the way up here, without having to spring up here. Straight up that slope will land you here. And then the next section I'll do all as one part, I'll play through it once first and try and pause as I go through, so the next jump, while you're still holding right all the way through here, is going to be this tree. Well, anywhere between kind of this checkpoint and this tree. And then there are various background cues I use to bounce off the next 4 things in a row, so So this background cue, the first one, after holding right and doing a full jump all the way from that last section. First background cue I use, I'm going to show my mouse cursor. Let me just do that. Too many sources. Capture mouse cursor. Okay, the first background cue I use is this here, this dip. So as you're about to be, depending of course exactly where you jumped off the previous jump where you started this, you have to start getting a feel for it. Like I adjust it slightly depending on where I started my jump. You want to be holding right until you're level with the bottom of this dip in the background, and when you are level with the bottom of this dip, you want to hold left until you land and bounce off this guy. You want to be holding jump the entire time through this entire section because you want big jumps off everything. So let's see if I can do this after pausing. No, I didn't hold left soon enough, so the goal is to land on this bug here. One of these bugs here, this one, you want to land here and bounce off one of these guys. And then as soon as you hit the bounce off that guy, you want to be holding right again. Up until another background cue, which I'll get to again. And remember to save state closer to it this time. Yeah, if you do have access to save states for practicing these kind of things, it's always useful to save state like as close to each individual jump that you want to practice. And just break it down into as smaller sections you can. That's one thing that happens, that's a good thing to mention. So if you don't have enough speed, if you slow down for some reason, like I did for some reason up at the top there for the first jump to start these bounces, you want to go further, you want to adjust your jump again so you go slightly further before you start holding left, so you don't hit this corner like I just did there, so you want to just miss this corner and drop down here. Get a better save state. Oh, I jumped too late there, but you can use the spring and then go out to the left and back to the right slightly. So there's the first jump, right. The first bounce even. So once you bounce off that guy, you're holding right and jump still the entire time until you get to the next cue that I use, which is here. So this is the hardest one to land properly because the next bounce you need to land on the right hand side of the thing you're bouncing off, otherwise you won't make it to the one after that. So the cue I'm using is between this tree here and this tree here in the background. This line in between the trees is what I'm imagining that I'm using, but that's the thing I've got used to. But you can, if you save state and go over these yourself, you can see if you like other cues better, obviously. And that's where you want to stop holding right. So rather than holding left this time, we're going to be just letting go of right. That box is the thing we're aiming for the second bounce. So I want to be bouncing off the... Oh no, it doesn't really matter where I bounce off this box. Sorry, it's the next one I was talking about. Damn. Well, that's confusing. Anyway, as long as you hit this box anyway, you're fine. As soon as you land in the box and then holding jump for full bounce off the box, switch to holding right again. And then there's another background cue again for the next thing. So over here, okay. Okay, the next background cue I use is here. It's similar. Again with this same pattern in the background, this tree here and this tree here, the line between those two trees. I want to leave this, normally I leave this one for slightly longer than I think. So probably more like on this second tree before I let go of right, because this is the one where you want to hit the thing that you're bouncing off of on the right hand side. Otherwise you can't make it far enough. And as soon as you hit this thing, you want to be holding right. As soon as you hit this bounce, you want to be holding right the entire time for the next one. So the next one is easy because you're just holding right the entire time. This decides whether you can make this next distance. So there we go, we hit the guy on the right, so we're holding right the entire time and you get to bounce off the tree in that the box in that tree. But it's quite possible you fall short of that box if you bounced on the previous Buzz Bomber on his kind of left-hand side of his sprite. So if that's the case, you're almost at the boss arena anyway, so you just run into the boss arena from the bottom and fight him normally. And then the final cues I use to land on the boss here, after bouncing off that final box, is this Spire of Rock in the background. Once I pass this, I let go of all buttons, including jump and directionals. And then once the camera shifts, I don't really have a cue for the last one, so once the camera shifts coming back down to here, I start holding right again. And then you land on the boss. And you need to keep adjusting by touching right again to get more hits on him. And then you can never get the last hit by landing on him like this, so for the last hit you're going to land on this platform and then jump into him one more time. And the time you're looking for on this level is a 32 in this case, if you get all of that over the top route. To land on the capsule, it's good to time the movement to jump on the capsule as soon as he starts flying away and the camera starts panning, then you start holding right and do a full jump as you're at the right hand side of the platform. And then you should land on the capsule. Well, I've been explaining everything in... I've been taking ages to explain everything so far. See if I can speed it up a bit. But yeah, I'll definitely edit this down. Marble Zone. So the great thing about Marble Zone is that we don't play any of it. So the starting... Well, okay, we play a bit of Marble 1, and then the other two we don't play any of. This is where I recommend you do this little fast acceleration movement at the start of this level. This is the only level where it's really worth it. So what you want to be doing as soon as the level loads in, you're holding left. Once you see that Sonic has faced, as soon as you see Sonic face left, so you only want to be holding left for 1 or 2 frames, then you can switch to holding right. And then as soon as you're over this hill, so that the slope is sloping downwards again, not so you're on this upward slope, then you do your first full jump to start accelerating. So the slope jump gives you more rightwards speed. Like that. Next you want to wait till you're on top of this slope and do a full jump. And then you want to land here, so that you're on this little upward slope. So all of these tiny little micro slopes matter in your jump trajectories. So once you're on this tiny upward slope here, you want to do a full jump with still your rightwards momentum from before. So that full jump should land you here. And then once you're here, you want to do a full jump off of this upward slope that I'm standing on. And that should land you here. Let me just check that I'm correct by actually playing through the level. Yeah, that's right, there we go. And then you want to do another full jump once you land on here. On this upward slope, you want to be on the left-hand side of this so that you're on the upward slope again. That'll get you a high jump up onto here. But again, this is all... this is probably one of the most freeform parts of the run. You can traverse this however you like, but this is the way I get through this bit as fast as I can to make sure I have as much of this first platform cycle to work with that we're looking for. The next jump you want is this one. So you want to be on this tiny upward slope on the end of this platform. And if you get here early enough, this fireball won't be in the way, so you're fine. So if you're still holding right this entire time, hopefully, you'll have enough speed to do a jump off this, which will get you either just on top of this or down here. If you land on top of this, just do a tap jump immediately, or land on here, do a tap jump immediately. And the goal is to land exactly here. The platform should be at the bottom, so the goal is to land here. I don't need to reset to show that. Well, I'll show it all in one action. Oh, we hit it. Okay. So if you get here fast enough, this platform will still be on its first cycle, this cycle down here. When it's too late is once this platform has risen up, because what we're trying to do is get inside this wall. So you have to wait for the platform to descend each time you try it. So the goal here, this is how all the marble zips are going to work to start off the level ups and such in the other levels. So we get to the more important glitches and how the glitches work in this game. So with rising and descending platforms, you want to normally stand on the far leftmost pixel of the platform that you possibly can while Sonic is teetering over the edge of this platform. So what you're looking for is, well, what I look for, you can look for other things, what I look for is this spike of grass on the far left of the platform is fully visible underneath Sonic's foot, which you'll see. I'll get on the right frame so you can see it. So like this, you can see that all of the flat black pixels on the bottom of Sonic's toe are off of the platform, and then as his foot starts rising up, you can see the last pixel of grass underneath his foot, and this is the pixel you're looking for. This is the leftmost pixel on the platform. So then you wait for the platform to rise up to here. Once the platform is up kind of past the shadow at the bottom of these rocks, you're going to hold right and then pause 1 frame after, or 2 frames after possibly, but try aim for 1 frame after, I think. And you want it to look like this. So this is exactly the spot you are looking for. If you have held right before you pause, or if you pause too late, as in you'll have gone further than this, and this will happen. This will happen, so you'll just fall back down here. You don't zip any further, you just fall here, and then you can try again by getting on the pixel back over here, etc. So once you're at this point in the game's paused, you want to hold left, because what we're trying to do is go towards the right very quickly. So you hold the opposite direction, you hold left, but in order for this to work, you only want to be holding left for 2 frames as you come out of the wall. So there's 2 ways that this can happen. I kind of see what happens. I don't go for either one specifically, but in order to hold left for a very short amount of time, you unpause and then let go of left immediately after unpausing. So that was letting go of left on the same frame as unpausing, so I didn't move. Same again. That was holding left. That was a good speed. That's the one you want. But then you can also do this. If you've only held left for 1 frame after unpausing, then you're in this position, and this works as well. But if you're in this position, you now have to wait for this platform to have descended past the level of the ground on this stationary bit of ground. So you want to wait until the platform is at least kind of down here before you start holding left to zip again. And the same goes for this second platform over here. You can also hit that one. So you don't want these platforms to be in the way. So at this point, you only want to hold left for a couple of frames. So again, you unpause and let go of left immediately. If you hold left for longer than that, then you slow down too much. You don't make what we want to make. Oops. So yeah, you'll be going at this speed. This is the speed you want to come off. If you hear Sonic screeching on the ground like he's slowing down on the ground, then that means you've done it wrong and it's not going to work. And then you want to pause as the camera pans across here. So the frame you're looking for is 1 frame before this one, so I just missed it. So what you want to see is the first 2 rows of this floating platform. First 2 rows of these blocks. You can see this is the first row, this is the second row. You don't want the third one to be on screen. You want the edge of the screen to be covering exactly here. And that is the correct frame for you to be able to unpause and then jump on the frame after unpausing, which is a good skill in this game. It's using a lot of the glitches. It's a good thing to practice if you make a save state on this exact frame, if you know the frame to get. I'll try and get the right frame just to show it. There we go, that's the right frame. Okay, so yeah, unpausing and pausing quickly so you can get as close to frame advance is also good for looking for frames like this. So yeah, this is the one you're looking for. If it looks like this, then all you have to do is unpause and jump on the frame after unpausing, which is harder than it sounds. And that should pass you through this wall. So if you don't do that, then you'll just end up against this wall here and not have passed through it. But if you do pass through the wall by jumping on the frame after unpausing, then you want to touch left so you zip out of that wall, and then hold right and jump up here and finish the level in any number of ways, doing these little slope jumps again. But I like to jump on this slope to get a full slope jump to land over here, then jump again off this one, get a slope jump that lands on top of here, and then do a full jump that will land you over here, and then run to the end of the level. So that can get you a 20, 21 to 19, anywhere in that range of in-game times. But that's pretty hard to get every time with this jump, so if you miss that and hit this wall like this, or you've just traversed the rest of the level normally, you want to come down here, you have to break this box, and in order to not play the rest of the level properly, this is the old way of doing Marble 1 that's probably been documented elsewhere, so I won't go as much into it, but this is the exact pixel you want to be standing on this on this platform, it works as the platform is ascending or descending. This is 3 pixels to the right of the final pixel you could be standing on the left of the platform. So for some reason, this one's slightly different. So this is what it looks like. I like to use this little black mark in the grass segment is in line with the exact back of the flat portion of Sonic's foot. But yeah, use whatever you like for this frame. And then wait until the platform is here, anywhere between this little light pixel, above this little light pixel in the right-hand wall here. I use the top of the grass as the marker and this light pixel in the wall, to below the start of the grass on here, I believe. So anywhere in this kind of vertical range of the platform moving upwards, this is for. You want to hold left and then jump probably 2 frames. Depending on subpixels, it's 1 frame after or 2 frames after, but for me it's normally 2 frames after. And that's the case for the other one I just showed actually. Depending on subpixels, it's possible to be able to pause on that frame late that I showed you earlier, like where the 3 blocks are visible instead of the 2, and still get a jump that works to pass through the wall. But I haven't seen that one. So for this one, at this position, I'm holding right. I don't pause for this one, but I'm just pausing to explain it here. I'm holding left even, so that I zip to the right. And then I jump 2 frames after holding left. And it's very important to let go of left and only hold left for 2 frames, otherwise you get stuck in the wall. Oops. So, otherwise you get stuck in the wall like this, and you can't avoid dying. So let me just show it. Oops, I wasn't on the right pixel on the ground. I have to wait for the platform to be in the right vertical position. So, trying to get this wrong on purpose by holding left too long is actually kind of difficult. Okay, well, you can basically, if you hold left for too long, you pass through the first wall of the, you pass through the first boundary of this wall, there we go. But you don't pass through the right-hand side of this wall, so you're stuck within it here. And all you can do is hold left to die, or hold right to die much slower in the lava there. So what you want to do is only hold left for the smallest amount possible. So only hold left for 2 frames, and then you'll get through and land here. Is the plan. And then look out for the bats, because if you hit them as you jump, they make your jump lower. If you hit any enemy as you're trying to jump up to a platform, your jump is lowered. It's annoying. And then finish the level however cleanly you can while holding right the whole time without bumping into things. And doing it that way first try will get you a 29 as opposed to a 21 or 20 from the other way. Or 19 if you're really good somehow. Well, that's a lot of stuff. This is the level I would recommend, Marble 2, for practicing these marble zips and level reps. The first one you should learn. So maybe I should have done it in a different order, I can always edit it. But yeah, this is the easiest one. You can have as many tries as you want at it, provided you don't die and lose your lives, I guess. And it's right at the start of the level, and the level's 11 seconds long, so it's just one movement, it's one thing to learn, and this is what everything else builds off in Marble Zone. So you want to be on the the leftmost pixel of this platform, which is here. This is what the pixel looks like. Again, I'm using, I'm looking at the leftmost pixel of grass spike being up visible underneath Sonic's foot, and all of the flat of Sonic's foot being off the left-hand side. If you move further than this, then you drop off the platform, or if you're in the wall pushes you back onto the platform. So yeah, you can tell where the leftmost pixel is by trial and error as well. This is the second most left pixel, so I do one more little tap and get in there. You have quite a lot of time to keep tapping while you're still down in the wall without it pushing you out. And then you're looking for, once you're in the right place here, the platform vertically to be here, here or lower. So I use halfway through this brick, the top of the grass in line with halfway through this brick here. If it's lower than that, then you should should go for the wrap. Otherwise, you have to wait until it's lower than that. I don't know if there's a point where it cuts off. I just go as soon as it's lower than this. So at this point, you want to hold right and press jump the frame after holding right. So this is especially where having 3 jump buttons at the same time makes things easier, because instead of it being a 1-frame window, it's more like a 3-frame window, because you get to press the 3 jump buttons 1 frame after the other, called pianoing like this. And yeah, so this one only works if you jump, I think, the frame after your right press. So it's you can start pianoing and press right kind of at the same time, and provided your pianos are like 1 frame apart, you should get through the wall here. If you don't jump at the correct timing, if you jump too late, it'll look like this. No, well, that would be nice if you didn't die. See, getting these wrong on purpose is going to be difficult now. If you don't jump, it'll look like that, and you'll hit the wall and not go through it. You have to try again. So what you want is... Oh. That happens a lot, and I know I haven't seen anyone else talking about it, so I'll talk about it here. I was on the correct pixel as far as I could tell on the leftmost side of this platform. But when I went for pressing right to zip, it just pushed me back onto the second leftmost pixel of this platform instead of zipping me. I think there must be some kind of tiny subpixel range, like in the 0 to 10s, if you're only just on the leftmost pixel, as opposed to being far on the leftmost pixel. To explain subpixels, there are 255. There's a value from 0 to 254 in between every pixel, which obviously you can't see in the game because the game is only drawn in pixels. But the game is still keeping track of how far across of a pixel you are within that pixel, so that does matter for some of the zips. This one not particularly. This shouldn't matter for this one. So if you're on the final pixel, this should work pretty much every time. That happens if you jump, if you do the zip, but the platform is in the wrong place vertically. It's still too high. So I was doing it while coming back up. It felt different. So there we go. Provided you press right and jump frame after, you will be at the end of the level. One thing you want to do after zipping is to ensure you hit the signpost at the earliest possible frame. Well, I mean not frame, but at the earliest possible whole second because of in-game time. You want to wait until you see this wall. When this wall is halfway through your screen, hold left. Then you will have run into the signpost as the signpost loads and hit it as soon as possible, which causes some fancy graphical glitches as well. And that should be an 11 every time, provided you get on the platform, the first platform on the first cycle. Otherwise you wait for it to go up and down and back up again before you can stand on it and get on that position of the pixel again. But that is the easiest level wrap to practice and the one you should probably start with. Marble 3 is very similar. You go on the right hand side of this platform. You can be anywhere as long as you're teetering over the edge a couple of frames into this section of wall here. And then once the platform is down past this line of rock, you can just hold right and land in this wall. Don't continue holding right, otherwise, because now you're in the state inside a wall where you'll zip in the opposite direction to where you hold. So the plan is to align yourself on the left side like this. You can see the spikes of Sonic's hair, which have changed to the lava texture, funnily. Once this platform has descended and you actually bonk against it instead of going under it and being crushed by it. So wait till this platform is a bit further down and then hold left even, which will zip you to the right here. And once you're in this position, you're looking very carefully at the bottom of this platform because you want it to be at its highest possible position before you zip under it. So I can frame advance and show you that. Actually, that'll be easier. So going frame by frame. I think that's the highest pixel. It is, and it stays on that one for twice as long, for more than twice as long maybe. So yeah, the frame you're looking for is this one. you can kind of see the lava changes in the last 2 or 3 pixels underneath this platform when it's at its highest point. You can see the lava changes texture slightly in these lines here. So I don't really have anything I'm specifically looking for, but you can use anything you like here. On this frame of the platform being raised up is when you want to start holding right to zip to get the level up, and then this time instead of jumping exactly 1 frame after your right press, you actually want to jump 2 or 3 frames. I can't remember specifically. I think it's 2. In order to get the wrap to work. But again, with pianoing, this makes it easier. So as long as you right as you piano or just before you piano, you should hit one of the frames. One of your button presses should hit the correct frame. I mean, so that should look like this. And that'll send you straight to the boss arena. And there's 2 ways to do this boss. If you have 0 rings like this, you do the boss this way, which is the way I've always done it. The boss appears on screen just after the audio cue of the main synth tune coming in. So you want 2 hits there, do a tiny jump over the middle so you don't hear him, get 3 hits here, jump over the middle, and then the final 3 hits here. And this should get you a 29 every time if you got on the first cycle for the level wrap. Land on the capsule. You can use the audio cue the music or just run along that grass until it's kind of equally on screen as the stone. But then there's another way to do the boss fight, which I do not do very often, if you get a ring at the start of the level. So let's start the level again so I can do that. Doing the boss this way with a ring will mean that you get a time of at least like 1 second, 1 second better, so a 28 instead of a 29. So what you want to do is collect this ring while still getting on in the platform here. And the easiest way to do that is to do a little fast acceleration like Marble 1. So as soon as the level starts, you're holding left. As soon as you see that you've turned left, hold right, and then wait until you're on this downward slope before you jump, and you get jump forwards faster. Like that. And do another little jump to collect the ring, and then land on the right side of the platform before it descends, and get into position to move into the wall. Like that. Oh, I thought that was it. Held right too much before the platform had gone down soon enough. There we go, like that. So now you have a ring as you do the same thing. Oops, I've waited too long. I have to wait for the next cycle. So now you get to the boss fight with the ring, and I'll have to remember exactly how to do this 3rd hit on him. But the difference is in this 3rd hit. You want to hit him twice. Oh, you want to hit him twice. And then for the 3rd hit, get in front of him and get a hit there. And land on the other side. And then that allows you to get at least 4 hits here. Possibly all 5 of them, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this method. Wow, okay, it's easier to get on the left side of him here than I thought. I'm doing it kind of too early. Ah, that's what you don't want, because he'll push you back down if you don't get in front of him in time. But anyway, this saves a second or 2. If you have the ring and can do the fight this way, now you get all of the rest of the hits on this side, like this. And because you need the ring to land in the lava for that final hit, because the platform you're on is completely in fire as well. So that was the fight you want with the ring. But otherwise, feel free to lose 1 second and go for the normal fight, like I've been doing. And that was what the small amount that we see of Marble Zone. So we're on a Springyard Zone, and Springyard Zone has surprisingly few glitches, at least in Springyard 1 and 2. So it's all about actual precise movement. So I won't explain too much. There's not many frame perfect things or anything to explain where you need really specific inputs. So I'll just play through it for the most part and try and explain only specific parts. So full jump at the start, full jump over here and hold left to hit this spring. Hold left once you're clear of the ramp and you get up here. Hold jump off of that and bounce and fall back down there. Hold left onto this ramp. Hold left onto this ramp, and as you start to touch the left-hand wall, then hold down. So you're rolling on it. And that'll either do that if you just hold down the entire time and you fall down here onto the spring. Or if you want to hit that spring slightly faster and save a few frames, you can instead jump here. Jump here. So there's it's a 2-frame window. You can jump here or 1 frame after here, I believe. It might be 1 frame before. And that'll put you down there with hopefully missing all the bumpers. Is the plan. Once you're hit on that spring, hold right and you'll fly all the way up here. Landing on top of this section, you want to leave this jump as late as possible to the latest possible frame, hopefully. But if you miss this jump, it's really bad because you fall down onto a lower path and everything's terrible and slow and it's a reset, etc. So you want to jump up here at some point, but hopefully as late as possible. And that'll land you down here. The plan is to land on this brown normal floor. But if you land on this green block or even the top of these stairs as you come down, which does happen, then you just need to tap left to make sure you land on the floor. And then jump off of that floor once it starts sloping downwards so that it lands you onto here. Jump over here, jump here and land on top of those stairs and get another jump. I wanted to actually land on top of here so that I could jump off the top of here and land up here. Once you're up here, the next jump you want to do is after you pass the second light but before you pass the 4th light. So around here. So you're still holding right this entire time, you do a full jump here. And that should land you on... There are also other ways to do this level, but this is the way I've been doing it for the longest time and seems to be the easiest and fastest for me, so... This is the way I'm making the guide for it, so... Oops, I overshot that section. If you find yourself down here or if you've gone slower, then you need to jump up onto this platform and up over this guy. And then any way of getting through here really doesn't particularly matter. The goal is to finish this level before the speed shoes run out. So let's see if I can get the jumps right this time. There we go. The plan is that's the goal there, to land on that green one, and then finally landing in that gap in the wall is a fairly hard part. So should have save state before again. As you can see, it's not a big deal if you hit those bumpers too much if you can fall back down. Okay, so once you hit these springs, I like to move out to the left slightly so that I have momentum going around. That could be the goal. You never know. So you can either, hopefully not get hit by those guys, you can either land on here to make it slightly easier. Oh, those blue guys are the bane of my existence. You can either land on the corner of that ground up there to slow down slightly so that your fall can be controlled slightly better. Or you can miss that top section entirely, which is faster, but then it's a harder window to get into the place that you're aiming for. So if you hit here, you want to hold right at a certain time so that you come diagonally down into the wall and land hopefully here without bonking the wall or being too late, because if you hit the spring then you lose loads of time, you have to go back up. The easier way of doing this is to land on this box and then you don't get sprung back up obviously, so you can jump from here just into the hole in the wall that you want to get to. If you still have the speed shoes, which should be if the timer is 25 or before, 26 or before, then after you hit the switch you can jump into the, hold left into the spring and then just hold right because the speed from the speed shoes will be faster. If you don't have the speed shoes anymore, you want to roll as soon as you hit the spring and let it just carry you to the end. I think that's that level. And you're looking for 25 here, 24 on the in-game time. Spring 02, start by holding left. You jump against the wall which actually aligns your subpixels on the level boundary here. It aligns your subpixels to 0, which is what you need if you specifically now let go of all inputs and press nothing, and the spring will spring you up above this bumper by doing that. So once you get hit by this bumper, hold right so that you land on the right hand side of this bumper and you get to go over here. Once you're at about this position on the slope, again there's a couple of different ways of doing this, I'll just go through the one I've been doing recently. You want to jump so that slightly later, well slightly earlier than that one, but so that you land on this section while killing the first of these purple guys. So you should land about here and having gone through the first guy. And as soon as you've done that, another full jump here and slow down slightly. I'll have to do it all in one action again, because these spike ball cycles start when the level starts, as far as I believe. Might be camera, but either way. What you're looking for is to land here, jump off of here, and then just hold right and run across this gap, because it allows you to do that until you get to that spring. So that's kind of one section of the level. The first section should look like this. So I don't hold right the entire time on that first jump there, just to give that last spike ball enough time to go around that you can run past it without being hit. Here you want to avoid bouncing off any of those guys, so as soon as you land here, just do a little hop over them, or hop through them if you do a very low jump, and kill the first one. But as long as you land here, while still having rightwards momentum, then the goal, for me at least, the method I use is to try and bounce off the middle of these purple guys here. They're in different positions, so I have to come at that. As they would normally be spawned if I came at there at a good pace. So after jumping over these guys, jump from here, land on that guy, and don't hold jump as you bounce off of him so that you land here, and then do a jump as you land there to get over, because you'll still have rightwards momentum, get over to this section. And once you're on the slope, you can start rolling. And then the frame you're looking to jump, well, the position you're looking to jump, is anywhere past this third horizontal background light thing here. So anywhere past kind of the center of here, towards the bottom of this corner before the slope changes. Just let go of all other inputs and hold jump. And that should get you onto this ground without having to wait for that platform. You should actually just be straight up here. Once you're up here, you're moving really fast. So you actually need to hit the speed cap in order to slow down. All you need to do for that is to hold right. So you'll slow back down after holding right. And as soon as you hit the speed cap, jump to land up on this green platform. And then jump off here and roll on here. And these spike balls will be on a different cycle depending how fast you got here, because they start when the level starts. And you just have to learn which ones are which. But if you get here as fast as possible, this first one will be raised up, but the second one will be on the ground. So you'll be able to roll under the first one, but then have to jump over the second one like this. If you get there slightly later, you'll actually be in a position where they're both up enough off the ground that you can roll down the entire slope and have a lot of speed coming down here, and then jump 1 or 2 frames before getting to this block and make it all the way over to here in one jump. But if you do the rest of the level as fast as possible, you can't roll down the entire slope, you have to jump over one of those spike balls. Oops. Fine, I'll start again. So hello Trixie. So you have to jump over this one here. And you just do a couple of extra jumps. Hitting the ceiling here actually makes you go slightly faster. Jump on that slope to get a slope jump up there. Roll here and jump anywhere a few frames before you get to the screen block to get this very tight jump window over here. You want to not hold right on that jump as well so you don't hit the speed cap, because you're rolling down the slope, you've gone faster than the speed cap. You should make it all the way over this gap. If you don't, then you have to land on the screen platform instead and jump up. And then as soon as you land there, jump up the slope. Slow down, you have to tap left slightly to slow down here, otherwise this bumper will bump you all the way back in where you don't want to be, like that. So tap left slightly and then roll, and you should roll and hit this bumper. And then on this final slope, there's a 2-frame window. Well, it's kind of a 2-frame window. So either the final pixel over here or the second final pixel, frame. Either the final frame of rolling down here or the second final frame, you want to hold jump, and that will get you cleanly into that top route and all the way to the sign as long as you're holding down. You can make it into that top route if you jump too early, but you have to recognize that you've jumped too early and let go of jump so that you don't get a full jump in time. And then you won't, because otherwise if you're holding jump, you'll miss the entrance up there, bonk against this wall and have to fall down all the way here and then start accelerating from here again to the end of the level down here. But that's about this level, so I'll move on to the stuff that needs to be explained in more detail. Again, a lot of these movement-based routes that aren't specifically frame-perfect stuff can be done in slightly different ways, and you can find your own methods. Important thing at the start of this level, in order to pass through the section here at exactly the point in the cycle that you need, you want to do a little bit of movement as this level starts. So as soon as the level starts, you're holding left. As soon as you touch the back wall, hold right and jump, and then start doing the level. So that'll make sure you get to this cycle at the start in the right place. You want to jump on this lower part of the slope here and hold down the entire way, and you should go all the way across to here. It is possible that you get you bonk up against this thing without passing over it, so you're just like this, and then those spikes will hit you, but that's fine. You can still do the rest of the level in exactly the same speed. It doesn't slow you down or not because there's another cycle coming up. So as long as you jump over here, bounce off of this enemy and land on this platform, you should be at the same pace anyway. So once you've got here, hopefully in the first cycle through there, the goal to get up here as fast as possible in the fastest cycle is wait until you see the bottom of this platform hit the top of this black building in the background. So when that's in line with this, then you can jump to make it up to that platform. So at about this point, you can press jump to make it up to this platform. And as soon as you land on here, the frame of landing, you want to jump to make it up into here. And then this top one will be moving downwards, so you want to move out from here slightly, turn around and jump into there. And then if you're fast enough, you might need to do one more jump while you're up here. If you're fast enough, you'll get up to hit this corner, which is where you're aiming for, in time for the earliest possible cycle that you can clip into here. So as long as you're in the far right top corner over here and you're just holding down, and you've managed to crouch and pan the camera down far enough, you shouldn't die by being crushed in the roof. You'll just clip up into here. And to complete this, at this point, all you need to do is touch left to zip slightly into the wall, and then hold right to walk across. Alternatively, if you're up there, you can touch left and jump the frame after, and you should get zipped all the way across into that section, which we're trying to get to here. You really don't want to pop out the top here, because then you have to go all the way around and get back in there again. And if you miss that first cycle, then you just come back up here. Like, if you miss that first cycle coming up the first time, just come up here normally like this. So yeah, crouch in this corner. There's a much faster way to do this this section of the level, and that involves holding left and then jump a couple of frames after, as this pushes you up into the wall. So I kind of use this frame, or somewhere around here. I don't have specifics, I just do it by feel, I'm sorry. But the top of this platform touching the bottom of this brown wall is when I hold left and jump. And that can clip you. I'll make a save state there. I'll show the fast cycle and make a save state as that comes up. And that can clip you straight down into the next section of this glitch, which you're trying to get to anyway. It's very handy. Oops, I jumped too early there. So, I want to hold left and jump there. Oh, wait. I was confident to hold left and jump kind of there. I'm not doing it. Anyway, I'm trying to show this fast clip. It's not necessary to get it every time. Like, I'm not expecting to get it every time. But it is nice when it happens. Now that I've tried to explain what I do, I'm not sure. So I haven't got the feel for it. There we go. So it's actually slightly earlier than I showed that frame, I think. I go for it. So yeah, you can get straight down here with that kind of input. and then you're on this lower level, which is where you want to be. But first I'll show how you get there from the upper bit, if you don't get that. So you'll be up here, you've got to run across to here without jumping up the top. As soon as you're pushing up against this wall, tap jump, wait until you're descending and jump again before you hold right, otherwise you'll clip up to the top and be out of the glitch where you don't want to be. So wait until you're descending off of this tap jump and then hold right, and you should be in here. Once you're pushing up against this wall, make sure you have no rightwards or leftwards momentum. Do another tap jump and you'll fall down onto this section, and then hold left to start zipping to the right, which is where you want to be. So now you're down in this place where both of the paths get you. The frame you're looking to stop on in this place is this one. So hang on. Is this one. So you want to be standing here and you want to be facing in this direction for this to work. It's possible that you can't make it onto this just by tapping left or right. You might be half a frame out, which looks like this. So you're half a frame away. So this is one frame, half a frame kind of. Well, I call it frame, but I don't know why you're like half a position away from it. And then on the other side, you're half a position away from it again. So this isn't what you want. If you're in this kind of out of alignment, half a position away, you want to come into this little green space that I'm in here. Do a jump and hold right so you're lined up against this wall, because this wall is pushing me from going right any further. And now you're in a position where you're aligned. If you move one frame to the left, you're in the right position. I like to use pause buffering here just to make sure I get one frame presses, because tapping a button for one frame is difficult. So if you press the button and pause one frame after, like this, you get to move one frame. And then just unpause to be in the right position. Once you're in this position, which is the one you're looking for, all you have to do is press right and then jump the frame after. Not like this, like that. And that will push you down here. So you fall down onto this path, and then from here you just hold left until you see I use this pillar is about to go off the left hand side of the screen, and then stop holding left and switch to holding down. And then you'll be here. Wait until you've collected the top ring, or you're just about to collect the top ring, and then hold jump. And you'll land in the secret here. And stop holding down. Hey Jarvis. Yeah, I'll explain that. Sure. Well, maybe I won't, because the rules will be changed by then, so it doesn't matter. And then jump and collect these. I'm not going to explain these specific jumps because these aren't precise. I didn't have precise methods for them. Jump near the top of this slope and then jump again to land on the switch. Once the block has moved far enough away, it's nice to jump to get the angle down there, landing on that spring to jump up here, but there are other ways you can get across. I'm not teaching the zip jump past the gap. Well, now it's been mentioned, so at least you can go and look it up if you're interested. That's for ILs, really. Yeah, it's possible, instead of switching to hold down and rolling and jumping and getting the speed shoes and all that, you can, I'm not sure what the frames are, but you can jump to get across that gap and start passing into this next wall above us here and zip all the way across there too. So holding right and jumping basically all through the section, there's no specifics to it. You often bonk up against the little spike nodule in the floor, which is annoying, but you can't really do much about it. You have to jump over it until you're on the spring. Once you're on the spring, hold left into the wall until you're about here. Then you stop holding left and switch to holding right and jump all the way over these stairs. These stairs will be in a completely different cycle depending on what time you've got here, because they're level, because they start their cycles as soon as the level starts, I believe. So you can probably learn kind of what position they're going to look like by looking at what time is on the timer as you get here. And if you still have speeches at this point, which you should do, it's possible to jump immediately over, land on top of one of them, like as they're in this position, and then jump immediately again and get all the way across, straight into the boss arena here. So the plan is to still have speeches and vulnerability at this point. So for the boss, we're on the far right position. As soon as he appears about here, you can start jumping to hit him. So jump to hit him once, he'll start descending here. If you still have the invulnerability, that'll be less of a problem. Although you can still do this. Oh, this is where the safe state is. You can still do this without invulnerability and get the hit there without being hit. Please. There we go. I need to remember to keep making save states through the levels as I go, more of them. You can also jump off of that one to get over here instead of using the spring, but I'm not very good at that, as you just saw. I didn't quite make it on top of the stairs, but yeah. So we're jumping as the boss is on. You're looking to not be on the block he's going to lift away, obviously, because then you'll die. Just anywhere left of this block that you can still hit him, but not be standing on top of that block. It's not actually very specific. It doesn't matter as long as you're slightly left here after getting that first hit, and then just jump as early as possible after you land each time, so you get as many hits as possible as he comes down there. So the best hits will look like this. So that's all the earliest hits you can get on him. And then to hit the capsule, I like to full jump as the kind of second light comes onto screen there. But yeah, you can have your own markers for these smaller things. In the boss fight, it's possible to, for some reason, miss getting this hit here. It doesn't let you. And then you'll have to wait for him to go across before you get the last hit, because there's a couple of positions where he's slightly too high for you to be able to hit him, so it helps to delay your last jump slightly and you get the hit sooner. Onwards. To Labyrinth Zone. Okay, same as most of the other levels, full jump to start off to accelerate faster. And again, a lot of these jumps through here are like I do specifically, but they're probably not. You probably don't need to do 100% the same thing. As long as you're holding right and not bonking on anything, you'll be the same speed through the sections if you find your own ways to do it. But I want to explain them specifically. This one, I don't know how much faster this is, but if you wait until the last 2 frames of this corner here, and then tap jump for only 1 frame, or 2 frames if you're on the last frame of this, then you can make it all the way across this pool of water and land here, which is slightly faster than instead just what everyone else does and run into the pool of water and then jump out of it. But I don't know how much faster that is. I started doing it for some reason after seeing it in an IL. So yeah, I won't explain that section, other than the fastest way to actually land on the switch is to have landed on here instead of falling all the way down into this section here. You want to actually land on this and then run off to land on the switch. Oh, jumped too early there. That's the trouble with having specific movement for all the sections. If you mess one bit up, then you keep messing up. Climbing these steps, I like to jump on the lowest first step, then jump onto the switch. Then as soon as this opens, jump onto this where it just opened from, and then jump up to here. Bouncing off those guys and holding right into here. There's several different ways you can fall down here. The plan is to hit this button as soon as possible at the bottom. So I like to hold right for quite a while and then hold left, so that I hopefully come down here, hit this side of this block, hit the right side of this block, and then kind of come at a further leftwards angle down. But you can either land on top of this block, you can land on top of that fish, which is kind of slow. But as long as you make it down to this switch here and land on it, and then onto this platform. It is possible to land on the platform first and start it rising and then hit the switch, which the ILs do, but I've never been able to do that. I think it's very tight to get like a 1-frame jump off of the platform immediately to hit the switch before the platform's risen too high that you can't hit it anymore. You want to be on the teetering animation on the right hand side of this platform, and that will allow you to rise up here and not be hit by those spikes. Because the goal is now to get it back up here to the little platform that spawned that takes you across the top of the level. Yeah, is it? So yeah, you only get one try at this platform rising, but if you miss this one, you can actually have another go at it by going onto this one. And you go on the left side of this one and jump around those spikes as well. The same way. Once you're on top of those spikes, you want to jump onto this step and then jump onto, I can't remember, I have to do it in order. Once you're on top of these spikes, jump here and then here. Oh man, I have to do it all in order, that's the problem. You have to have the flow of the level. But again, like, for stuff like climbing these underwater staircases and stuff, I'm sure there's other ways up which is just as fast. So yeah, jumping about there will get you up above the spike slightly faster than just waiting for it to platform to push you all the way up. And that was not clean up here. Anyway, I want to land here after that jump, and then turn around and immediately jump up onto this platform. And there's various different methods of doing this as well. I like to teeter on the right hand side of it, and then my cue is once the right hand side of this platform has moved past the right hand side of this background, kind of center of the background here. Then I hold left for a bit, jump out to the left. The goal is to have as much rightward momentum as you jump off the platform, so you make as wide of a jump over this gap as possible. So I like to jump out to the left, land on the platform, run along to the right, and jump as late as possible off the corner of the platform to the rightwards. So too far to the left. Oh, I didn't save state there? I thought I did. Oops. Waste of time. Jumping as that door opens accelerates you faster as always from stationary. And pianoing as you land from each jump is helpful to jump on the frame that you land when you want to jump as soon as possible. Okay, so we're on this platform. Jump out to the left, run to the right, get some momentum, and make it all the way across to here. And as soon as you land here, sometimes I like to hold left to actually slow down slightly so that I'm not going as far right. As soon as you land here, you want to jump again over these spikes and you'll land actually on this corner. And before you land, you want to be holding down so that you don't die to the enemy that jumps out there. And then you'll roll across this platform and kill the enemy, and then you can continue on. If you have either waited too long on the platform or you just don't jump soon enough as you land here, you'll bonk into the side of these spikes, which I can't even do on purpose. You'll bonk into the side of these spikes and then hit them and be damage boost this way, but that's fine. Holding right through here. And then once you get to this pillar, I tap left a couple of times because you need to slow down to not be hit by these guys. And then hold down as you land so that you roll through them. The goal is to land on this flat bit of ground before you start rolling, as opposed to this step before you start rolling, because you save some time by rolling straight through both of them here instead of kind of rolling through one and then the other and bouncing off the second one slightly and having to wait to land. So once you've rolled through both of those, or once you're at this point, wait until you've broken out of the roll, otherwise you can't control Sonic before you jump, and then you jump onto the switch. The fish will be facing towards you, coming towards you here. It's faster to land on the switch first and then jump through the fish, but the fish might be slightly far across, so you can land on the fish first and then hit the switch or whatever. Climbing up this staircase, I like to land on the second step and then small jump onto the switch. And then the goal after this opens is to jump onto this section here, this corner, and then you only have 1 or 2 frames after landing that you need to jump straight away without bunking on the corner here to get over here, and then you'll have enough rightwards momentum to jump. Damn it. You have enough rightwards momentum to jump on like the last few frames of this corner to get you all the way over to here without falling in one of these gaps and bonking up against the side here. There's an annoying glitch that happens fairly often for me here where if you don't jump soon enough on a corner like this and you're pushing into a wall underwater, when you next jump you won't turn into a ball. So the enemies that are up here will just hit you anyway. So you have to make sure if you're in this situation just under the water and you're jumping up, you want to actually back away from the wall and then jump so you turn into a ball. And the times you're looking for on this level are like anywhere under 50. is good enough in the in-game time, really. 45s are very fast. What do we got here? Full jump and hold right to start, like the other levels. You want to do a full jump, or slightly less than full jump on this line here, about. I just hold down all the way down those slopes and into here. I know maybe there's a tight jump, so you get down this hole slightly faster, I'm not sure. Once I'm rolling down this hole, I hold out to the right so that I have some momentum coming back into the left to go through this gap. Not like that. No, I shouldn't have bothered resetting for that, but whatever. So there's a cycle you're trying to make with spike balls near the start here. Although I think they only start on a camera timer, so it's only once you've descended far enough to about this section. Jump over this section. If you're short a jump, you have to hold down to roll off this corner, otherwise you get hit by this fish. And jump just over this guy and hold right so you cut around this corner as cleanly as possible. And then keep holding right, and you should get under this first spike ball before it's swinging around in this first cycle. And then under the second one as well. Isn't this guide only so useful to people playing PAL? It shouldn't be, because all the frames are going to be the same. And all the cycles are the same, so no, not particularly. After running along here, I like to jump at about this line, do a tap jump. You hit the enemy, you'll force you back down at this first step. Climb these steps by landing on this first step, jumping, landing on this step after landing on that one to this one, and then immediately jumping and being swept up into there. And then this next section has a difficult thing which you kind of hope to get, but it doesn't matter if you do or not, it saves a couple of seconds. If you're holding nothing coming out of here, the way I try and get it is to start holding left as I'm about in this position, stop holding left as I'm about in this position, and start holding right. And if you do it correctly, you'll hit I should go back down there to show it. Oh, what save state are we on? Damn it. I think I just overwrote my save state. No! Oh, well, we're over here. If you do it correctly, the plan is to come off of the spring, hitting this right-hand side of this block here, which will start your movement to the right further than you would have otherwise. And that will get you right up on top of the monitor. So instead of having to come up and over here, you actually bonk your head on top of this block here and land straight on top of this monitor, which is quicker because this is where we're trying to get to the switch. But otherwise you have to drop down here and just jump on top of it from here, which is not that much slower, so it doesn't really matter. After that, just hold right and jump up here, and then the glitch to finish the end of this level, so you don't have to play any of the horrible underwater bit past it, is do a little jump. The plan is to land on this block here, and if you have any rightwards momentum as you land on this block, all you have to do is hold right, and you'll fall on the right-hand side of the switch, because the goal is to not hit the switch to activate this floor until you are coming back over it to the left, because you want to be standing on this floor as it opens. So once you're on this right-hand side of the switch, which you can also get to if you miss the drop onto this platform, you can just try and gingerly jump over the switch to not hit it. It helps to do a tap jump and then hold right as you're descending, so you get under this corner here. So once you're on the right-hand side of that switch, all you have to do is hold left for a few frames, then jump, and make sure you have enough leftward momentum without bonking the side of the switch that you'll run over the switch after pressing it and land on this platform that takes you into the wall. Once you're standing on the platform, make sure you let go of all buttons so that you actually pass into the wall instead of being pushed out by it. And then once you're in this wall, all you have to do is wait for the platform to have stopped moving, and then hold left, and you should zip out through to the end of the level. I should have looked for an exact frame to press this, but I tend to hold left until I start seeing the camera descending, and then I start holding right. And holding right will snap you to the speed cap so that you can hit the sign as it loads. If you just hold left the whole time, or if you hold left and then hold nothing, you'll have gone too fast past the sign and you'll be on the right-hand side of the screen not touching the sign. So if you hold right to snap to the speed cap at a certain position, then yeah, then you should hit the sign because you would have slowed down to the speed cap. And the sign only loads once the camera is panned across to it enough. Alright, Labyrinth 3, and I am going to explain both ways to do Labyrinth 3, I suppose. Or even the three different ways to do Labyrinth 3. I should do this. So, as soon as you start again with full jumping forwards to accelerate, do a little jump through these rings, because these are the only rings you're going to get in the entire level, hopefully. And then you want to land to not bounce off this guy, so you actually need to let go of right slightly in order to cleanly get through him. And then do another full jump through these guys. So that should look like this, actually. And then just hold down the waterfalls until you get to here. Once you can see this pink crystal, then hold jump. And hold nothing so you don't hit the speed cap, because you'll be over the speed cap coming in this section. Then jump off onto this switch. And hold right and jump over into this section which is now open. I try to land on this block here. You can land on the step underneath it or the floor underneath that. And then jump onto this switch as fast as possible. And I just run off the switch to the left and then switch to holding right so that you have momentum coming down off there. Not that one. Oh, it didn't save state again. But the goal is to land on the switch straight underneath you there before the spike comes around on its cycle. I'm trying to hit the lowermost step at that section, not the second step. Like that. There we go. And then you can either jump over this spike wall if it's far enough. Jump over that spike wall if you're soon enough there, or just run under it like that, under the switch. And then the hardest trick in the game. Let's go for this. So, apologies if I get some things wrong, because this is very, very specific and annoying and why is it in runs? Anyway, so in order to do this, well, the plan of this is to zip towards the left quickly enough that we make it all the way to the left level boundary and level wrap around to the right to the end of the game. To the end of the game, that would be nice. To the end of the level. So in order to initiate it, there's several steps. The hardest is probably the first two. What we want to start off with is running into the side of the spike here, landing in between these two spikes and running into the side of the spike. This will damage you back to here, which is a nice way to set up landing on this cork. So you only have one shot at this each time the cork is loaded, which is another difficulty. The goal is to, I'll try and get on the right frame and show which frame it is. The goal is to move right slightly to start the cork descending, because you're not standing on it straight away, and then immediately start holding left again to run back onto the leftmost pixel you can possibly be standing on the edge of this cork. And I've moved left too far, so I've popped back up here and I can see I'm not standing on the cork anymore. And yes, I pause buffer this like crazy. Pause buffers are required for this trick, pretty much, as far as I can tell. So I think this is the right frame. Unfortunately, you're flashing with iframes, so you can't see Sonic every frame, and it's hard to judge. So yeah, this is the right frame that I can see him. So what I'm paying attention to, you don't have to pay attention, you can find your own markers, is Sonic's foot, is the how it looks between Sonic's foot raised up on the edge of the cork here and the flat of the cork. So I can see like several green pixels between his foot and between the bottom of his foot and the top of the cork. And then once you're in this correct horizontal position, it's all about getting in the correct vertical position as the cork descends. So for that, I'll use frame advance on the emulator just to show the right ones, or the ones that normally work. Subpixels, I think, affect this, but for most of the time, these are going to be the ones that you want to look for. So by the time you're at the point where you're looking for the right vertical positions, the cork will be moving down 1 pixel every 2 frames. So the pixels we're looking for is this one. So this one won't work because we're on the first frame of it normally. So I think the second frame of it is the only one that works. And then this one works on either frame of it. So this is the one I normally look for, aligned with the black, with this top of this black block and the left wall here. The top of the cork is exactly aligned with it. And then the one after this as well. This one works too, but only the first frame of it. If you've gone one frame after this over to here, then this won't work anymore, and you won't be able to zip anymore through the wall. This is emulator paused. So actually, it'll zip you slightly, but you'll only make it to here. The reason we've been hit by the spike is because we need iframes to then pass through these spikes again as we zip. So once you've carefully paused on one of these correct frames that will allow you to zip along here, you're holding right, and the next, probably hardest part of the trick begins. So hold right, unpause and pause to be along this zip somewhere. So we're trying to make it through this wall here. And in order to do that, we need to jump on the same frame that we would hit the wall, or maybe one frame before. I think it's one frame before we would hit the wall. So this is where subpixels come into play. If you have your subpixel range, I can't remember, it's 50-50. It's either in the lower half of the subpixels or the higher half of the subpixels. Then any jump, if you're in the good half of the subpixels, that works. Any jump the frame before you hit this wall will get you through to where you want to be. If you're in the lower half of the subpixels that doesn't work, then you'll still pass through the wall, but then fall downwards where you don't want to be and not make it into the next part of the trick. So, depending on where you've paused as you zip along here, you know how many frames you have until you need to hit jump. In this position where I've paused, I know I'm invisible because of iframes, but in this position I've paused, I have 2 frames until I need to hit jump on the correct frame for this wall. If I were to be 1 frame ahead of here and this about here, so I know Sonic's in about this position on the screen here. If I was 1 frame ahead of here about here, I know I have to jump on the frame after I unpause. And again, for here, one before, I'd be jumping 3 frames after I unpause. If you want to increase your chances of getting through the wall subpixel-wise, to have it not be a 50-50, to have it better than 50-50, you can try and do a 1 frame jump on the same frame that you would hit the wall, instead of just any jump. But I haven't been doing that because that's hard, especially if you pause in a frame like this that isn't further away from the wall, so that you can try and buffer your jump input to be 1 frame by pausing immediately after. But yeah, if you have a 1 frame jump as you pass through the wall, you do get better odds of your subpixels being in a range that will let you through to the next section. So hopefully we're in a subpixel range for this one to work. I'll give it a go. That was not, but it might have been too early. So that's what started happening here. Yeah, what's happening here is you have bad subpixels. So you fall down into this section. I'm not going to go for the backup right now because we're in the middle of this other trick. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to try and change my subpixels in some way. Oh yeah, so this is a good time to explain. If you don't have any rings, if you've tried the trick and failed it by getting the wrong position of the cork and you want to reload the cork, but you have rings, you can just go to this right-hand wall here and then back, and the cork will be loaded again. If you don't have rings, then you want to go and find new rings by going up here, jumping the last 2 frames of this block as you run off there. Hopefully this fish won't be in the way as well, because he lowers your jump if you hit him on the way. And you get a jump up onto here, and then there are rings up here, and you get air back as well, which is helpful. Oops. 1 second. Only back in a minute. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. It's like... I'm not going to be able to listen to my own stream immediately, but yeah, I could see the audio level. It's to do with the Bluetooth headset being turned off as a noise was still being made through it or something then. Sorry. Sorry. But anyway, hopefully I'm going to be editing this. Anyway. So we want to get better subpixels. Because these ones aren't working. Actually, I didn't try doing a one frame jump to get through the wall to see if that would work with these subpixels, so let's try and do that. Oh, I should have save state. Oops. Okay, this will work. No, even with a one frame jump, I think that was a one frame jump. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a one frame jump through the wall, so if this doesn't work, then all our subpixels are bad, there's no hope. Yep, okay. So, we need to have different subpixels. We got screwed. But we got our ring back from zipping along and collecting it again, so we only have to load the cork like that, so... let's go for it again. Oh, this is going to be annoying with the air sound playing as well. So yeah, on this frame, actually this is one frame too far right, I need to be one frame further to the left, which I can't quite get to in time now, so oh well. Okay. There we go, this is what you want to see. So if you see that you've gotten to the wall, you're not falling downwards, Sonic's spike of hair is here, or if you've done a one frame jump and got an even better one through the wall, you won't even see Sonic's hair, you'll be another position in. So you need slopes to change subpixels. Slopes are very good at changing subpixels, like the waterfall slopes there, but not necessarily. Like if you tap up against the wall, I'll explain it in a second because you need it for this section. So once you're in here, you want to tap left to get into this position and jump up against this wall. The reason we're jumping up against this wall is to manipulate our subpixels, coincidentally. So in order to get through the next section of the level without again falling down because of having bad subpixels, the goal is to put our subpixels in a range which is beneficial to us by jumping up against this wall. This is the wall we're jumping up against. There is a kind of flat wall here if you jump into it to the right. Yeah, jumping in general changes Y subpixels. There's also horizontal subpixels to be changed. So the way that you can do that is to move into a wall at a slower than 1 pixel speed. And to do that, we jump up against this wall and tap to the right very lightly as we're flat against the wall, and then release. As far as I know, that's what's happening here. So like this. And once you've done that 3 or more times, the more times you do it up to 6, the better the chances are that the range you want has been got towards, apparently. You then want to land here, hold right and jump, I think 4 frames after, but you want a 1 frame jump, so you want to jump and press pause on the same frame. So the frame you're looking for is exactly here, on top of this floating block. Okay, thanks, this is helpful. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That is what I thought was going on, something like that, yes. So, after you've aligned your subpixels enough on this wall, to your taste, hold right, jump 4 frames later and pause on the same frame, so that will look like Sonic is a ball on top of this, floating in line with this floating block exactly. See if we can get it. There it is. And then all you need to do is let go of everything and unpause, and hopefully you should get through if you have the right subpixels. So there we go, we're through that section. And then all that's left to do is a final subpixel check, except this one's much more lenient. You only fail it 2.5% of the time, apparently. And in order to do that, we jump up against a final invisible wall before zipping off to the side of the level. And all you need to do is hold right and jump. hold right and then jump shortly afterwards, and then let go of all buttons. And as you descend the invisible wall that you've now hit up against, start holding right to then zip off the edge of the level. Like that. And if you have enough breath left, you might even survive. Which I should be able to do here, if I do everything quickly enough. There we go. So, that's the hardest trick in the game. Good luck with it. I should probably explain how to do the level normally, so that there's a less insanity-inducing way of completing this level. Once you've zipped off the level, in order to land on the capsule nicely, wait until you see this pathway go by, and then as soon as it's off the left side of the screen, start holding left for a good second, and then jump. And hopefully on top of the capsule. Cool. So, doing the level normally. Better teach the backup. Okay, I'll do the backup as well. Oh, in fact, can you do the backup from this position? Let's find out. Well, not with these pixels apparently. I don't think I've ever got into the backup from failing that section. I've only got into the backup from failing going through the first wall. So, there is a backup, which may or may not be worth going for, but it's cool. It looks cool, I like it. If you fall through this first wall with the wrong subpixels, then it's good to go for. Good to see if it happens, because it's free. It's free to go for. You have to go past that section of the level anyway. I'm not in the right pixel on the cork. Oh. There we go. Okay, well, can you fall back out of the wall if you do this? I have to get bad subpixels on purpose now. Oh, hello. I don't think you can't go through the section that you would have bad subpixels for, so sorry, so ask again, Gonzo, this might be important. Sorry, I didn't explain it properly. What? What are you talking about? What was I talking about? Oh, okay. Yes, the right pixel of the cork. And I'll just try this a couple more times to try and get the bad subpixels to look for the backup, but the backup doesn't even happen very often at all. Was it? Was it indeed? You know, we don't say the R in lots of things, like car as well. So. Hey, there we go. So this might make the backup work, but then it's still random after this. Once you've fallen down here, you hold right in order to zip out to the left and start going down the waterfall again. Once you're on the waterfall, once you're down here near the bottom of the waterfall, start holding right so that you slow down after you fall off of it. And then once you're falling through the air here, start holding down. And the backup occurs if you clip into the ground in that diagonal section that you fall onto. Which I probably don't have a save state of anymore. No, I don't. Look, I'll find a clip of me looking at the backup elsewhere, or whenever I get it at another time, but I'm not gonna keep going this round and round until I get it, because it does not happen very often. So, how do you do the level normally instead of doing this stupid glitch? Well, after you've gone through this section as normal at the start, hit both of these switches to open the doors. instead of trying to do the level wrap, we land on the cork like normal and descend like normal. If you've gone for the level wrap once and then want to carry on with doing the level normally after failing it, I like to wait for a bubble here. You can either wait for a bubble here or wait for a bubble at a section further on that I'll say in a second. I can't remember the optimal way for jumping up the stairs. It's been a while since I played the level normally, so I think jumping onto the second step and then this step and jumping immediately off of here is the way to go. As soon as you're in this rapid section, hold down the entire time, and then piano your jumps as you hit these to let go as soon as possible. Once you've let go of this one, stop holding down, and then start holding it down again once you're on these ones. As soon as you're out of this rapid section, this line of the wall, start holding left. You'll land just before this spring, and do as short a jump as you can to land on the spring, then hold left up onto the switch, hold right back over here, and cut this corner as finely as possible as you fall past here to have as much rightwards momentum to land further up these steps on this wall. And then this is the other position here where you can wait for a bubble. Or you need to wait for a bubble if you haven't waited for a bubble at the other position. Yes, bubbleless has been done on this level, and no, I don't think I'm ever going to attempt it. So, okay, past this section. Climbing this, the big climb begins here, basically. Land on here, land on here. If you don't kill both of this, if you don't kill this enemy that jumps above you here, you won't be able to jump up onto this next step as hard as you try if you hit the enemy, so you have to either have killed the enemy or wait for him to be out of the way before you jump onto this step. Full jump up there, small jump, and as small a jump as you can up there. Full jump up here. The water will start rising once you land on one of these corks. I like to land on this first one, wait till it's risen a bit, so that this guy doesn't kill me. Then jump onto the second one and then the third one. You can just jump straight over to the third one. Once the top of this third cork has risen past the top of this tile here, where the water is covering at the moment, you can do a full jump up onto this step and begin the climb. You kind of got to get your own feel for the correct height of jumps to clip up onto these corners as fast as possible for the nice jumps for the climb. But there's two ways of doing it. You can either do a low jump every time, where you low jump, and then also do a low jump on this one, and a low jump over onto this one. Or, I'll demonstrate on the next section which has the same pattern. You can do low jump, and then a medium jump there to land here, and a medium jump there to land here. This one always has to be a full jump up here. And then if you have no rings, it's nice to collect the shield for safety before the boss. In order to get past the boss, because you can beat Robotnik up here, beat Robotnik up these stairs here, and be ahead of him by the time you come out the top. You do a little fast acceleration movement starting here, so you go left and to the right, and jump back to the right to accelerate. I don't think I really did it there, but the goal is to get a jump that misses hitting him, but just lands on this corner as low as possible, and then immediately start doing really low jumps to perfectly climb up. And you can get up ahead of him as he starts to rise up this. You can be ahead of him. Otherwise, and then you have to really keep pace up these next sections, but I won't go through that massively, there are clips of it. Otherwise, you just gotta learn when you have to wait, and how much momentum you need to jump up onto these, onto some of these corners. Oh, also the closer you get to him, if you come up right underneath him, he rises away faster, so in order to get up faster if you're behind him, it's nice to jump up as close to him as you can. And then for the final jump, he'll stop there and you can run underneath him. And then jump when you're about on this frame to land on the capsule. There's the rest of that level, sure. Good enough. So yeah, there's a save 40 seconds, 45 seconds by doing the level wrap, or don't. Your choice, unless you want one of the top times anymore. Starlight Zone, that's a fun level, fun zone, because again, we do a level wrap every single one of them. And most of them are fairly easy, most of them are good to start with practicing level wraps as well, so for this one, it's full jump to accelerate, full jump up there, jump onto the spring, not a full jump onto the spring. You can land sooner if you do less than a full jump. And the goal here is to be on the leftmost pixel of this descending platform as it descends past this wall before it reaches the bottom. You only have a time limit for this one, and before you have to go back and reset it to try it again. So the pixel should look like, not that one. This is me pressing left for too long and being too far over. That's the pixel you're looking for. So I am bad at spotting this one, but I'm bad at telling this one apart from this pixel and the pixel one to the right of it. But it does have to be this one, and not only does it have to be this pixel, it is actually sub-pixel dependent as well. So I don't know the exact numbers. As well as being on this pixel, you want to make sure you tap left a couple more times, because you need to be as far over on this pixel as you can without overshooting, basically. I imagine it as kind of two-thirds of the way through the pixel, as it were, before the zip will start working properly. So yeah, if you're on this pixel, if you're just on this pixel, you probably want to tap left 1 or 2 more times for like a 1 or 2 frame tap to make sure you move your subpixels forwards on this pixel as well. And then all you have to do is wait for this to have descended fully and stop moving. Actually, you can do it slightly before then, but and hold right all the way to the boundary of the level. If you let go of right too soon, it doesn't actually work often. Holding right actually aligns you better for that bullet through paper effect of getting past the level boundary. Oh, and then you hold left at a certain point to hit the signpost as well. I should probably show that. If you want to hit the signpost as early as possible, you want to start holding left when you see this wall. Once this wall has come kind of halfway onto the screen, you can hold left. Then you hit the signpost at the earliest possible opportunity. I started holding left too soon there. And you can get 16s on this level every time if you get it first try. I can't remember if 15's probably possible. I've never seen it, I can't remember. Oh, and if you don't get this first try, if you have ended up not far enough on the pixel, and this will happen, or if you end up too far over, and if this guy's still here, you'll get hit by him, or this will happen and then you can't zip anymore. All you have to do to reset these steps to have another go at it is to make it as far as, yeah, past this light, basically, on the left side of this corner, or further over to the left, and the steps sort of reloaded. Then come back over and have another go at it. You'll know if you've got if you've been on the right pixel but your subpixels weren't far enough across, if when you zip slower than you've seen here, and obviously you don't make it through the level boundary. Cool, so that's a fairly simple level, and the next level is even more simple, thanks to our good friend Chubbas, who may or may not still be in the chat, but very solid method of getting the next level 100% of the time. Okay. First we want to hit the spring. You can either jump on top of it or just walk into it. That was too early. So actually I want to show with these rings, because these rings are a good marker to see where you want to jump. So after you hit the spring, and hold down to roll, as far as I'm aware, you want to time your jump so that you collect the last 2 rings. You can work with collecting all 3, but somewhere around here, so that you hit the wall at exactly this spot and clip into the floor like this. The fan pushes you into the floor, and you're not holding any directionals at this point. You're just holding jump and then letting go at this point. So if you do that jump too soon, then you will have clipped up and over on top of this area and won't be able to have another go at this because you can't get past the fan. So in order to try again, you'll have to kill yourself on the Orbinaut that's coming along here and then restart the level. If you jump too late, you'll just hit underneath on this slope and you can run back to the spring and try again. But once you're in the wall, all you need to do is hold left, and pause buffering is very helpful for all of these inputs, because if you overshoot, if you zip too far along in this floor, then you're out of the glitch and you can no longer move around in this zipping state. So again, you'd have to kill yourself on the Orbinaut, try again. But the goal is to get exactly in a position that looks like this. In order to do that, first you need to be in between. How do I explain this? Okay, I'm just going to say the way I do it, and then you can set it up in various different ways too. So first you want to actually hold right so that you're pushed into this back of the wall and you start sliding forwards. So you're kind of halfway in between this position that I am now. Because if I move along to the right in increments now, increments of 1 frame, you can see that, I didn't know that was possible, you can see that I'm landing on top of these lights, where actually I want to be in between these lights at this point. So if you push into this wall and then start moving while you're being pushed back, now you'll be in between these lights. The position I want to look for here, oh, this is too far, this is where you get clipped out of it, and you have to try again. The position I want to look for, let me get back there, is here. So once you're in this position, you can unpause, and you're going back the other way, so to move back towards the level boundary and try and level wrap. So hold right, and then pause 2 frames later. This was only 1 frame later, but this still works, because then you just need to hold right and pause 1 frame later to get on the same frame that you would be. You'll be in this position, this is the frame you're looking for, and then all you have to do from here is unpause and jump the frame after you unpause. And hold jump, and nothing else. And it works every time, amazing. Oh, and then the position for holding left to hit the signpost as soon as possible is when you see the seesaw that just went past the screen. It's just off screen now. At the very top of the screen there's a seesaw that goes past. Once that's past the center of the screen, I start holding left. That's the one I use. So that's become the second simplest level wrap after Marble 2, really. Maybe Marble 3 is simpler. It's like Marble 2, Marble 3, this one. Starlight 3, we have another level up, but first you have to do a bit of the start of the level to get up there, so there is an IL strat that involves rolling down this slope and jumping here in order to get onto this seesaw. That was really cool because I did it first try. In order to get straight up here, and this is where you want to end up to start doing the stuff for the level up. But in order to play the level normally, and that's really not consistent doing that jump that I just did, you want to jump to start off, jump to go over this giant, jump a 3rd time, and then at the timing you would jump in line with those is to is where you want to start holding left, and that'll put you on this slope coming down. Once you're on this slope coming down, hold down, and you'll get flying all the way up here. Start holding right and land on this seesaw, on the middle of this seesaw preferably, because it makes the spike ball go less high, so you have less time to wait before it bounces you up. Once you're up here, jump on this, be further than halfway over the seesaw, and jump again as soon as you can when you land, to immediately go up onto this, and then jump onto the left side of the seesaw to make this go high enough to send you up here. And now we're in the same spot again. So once you've sent that spike ball up, stand in the middle of the seesaw, wait for it to come down, and as you start moving upwards, hold right. As you start moving upwards, hold right. And then the position you're looking for here after holding right the entire time is once you're past this 4th lamppost, once you're just past this 4th lamppost, you want to roll and then jump immediately. And that should get you into the wall, which I have not done. If you fail that, you can wait for those guys to explode, come back here, get some momentum by going out to the left there, and then try again in the same position. If you jump too early or are too slow, then this will happen, the fan will push you up here, and you can't try again, the same as last level, because you can't get past the fan. You have to do the level normally. I'll play for level once normally. I didn't for Springyard 1, because honestly, Starlight 1 even, because honestly, I don't know how. You can do slope jumps on downward slopes as well to speed up. I play it through this way. I know there's another way you can go down there. It's probably faster, so sorry, I don't know how to play the levels normally very well. But you can even watch like Niglaria's old tutorial and stuff for that, because they're on there. I want to avoid that platform drop, so down here. Damage boost here by jumping at that spot, and hopefully you'll move forwards instead of backwards, but either way. And then you're at the boss at the end of the level, so before we do that, let's try and show off the level wrap. So if you roll and jump at the correct time, you get into this floor here, pushed in by the fan again. And then the goal is to get on top of one of these 3 red lights, it doesn't matter. And this isn't... I have really looked... well, still haven't looked enough, to be honest, but... we thought we had a consistent way of doing this, but it's not 100% consistent. It's definitely not 100% consistent, unfortunately, so you might have to get slightly lucky with this. But in general, the best rules for making it work is this. Tap left and pause, well, left and pause to move this way a frame, land on one of these lights. You can do it from this light, you can do it either from this light or this light or this light, it doesn't matter. Once you're on one of these, hold right to be in this position. This is the frame you're looking for, you want it to look like this. And you want to make sure it's not after you've already hit the wall and are sliding back, it has to be while you're still zipping towards the left. And then you have to do the old unpause and jump a frame after unpausing, which I did not do. Oops. There we go. And now you're following along, you can see you're going fast enough because you get some glitchy artifacts of level stuff. And here's where we want to show this grate in the background here. So in order to make it more likely that you'll be able to pass through the level boundary, once you are within this region, the region that is kind of pointed at by this grate in the background, so I'm using this pointing up and this pointing up, pausing any of the 3 or 4 frames within this section. Although this isn't the only place where it works, this is just where it's more likely to work. You want to have paused here, well, preferably a frame or 2 before here. Hold right, unpause and pause as fast as you possibly can. And then let go of everything and unpause and hopefully pass through the level boundary. Oh yeah, the stars moving in the background really fast makes it look like they're not real stars. Yeah. So you'll be in the boss fight. This boss fight also involves some, well, 2 frame window jumps. Not frame perfect. If you land on top of a seesaw while it's up at the top of a seesaw, you have 1 frame to jump off it before the seesaw starts descending, and that'll mean that you're high enough to hit Robotnik just by straight jumping up to him. The optimal way to do this fight, I'll try and do it, looks like this. I've already failed it. So 2 frame perfect jumps there, or 2 frame perfects, because you can get it on the second one. Get bounced off by that spike ball, hit him with those 2, hit that one there, and then hit him with that. And that jump would be the final one, but I need to hit him one more time because I missed one. So, alternatively, you can just wait for him to drop various spike balls and immediately fire them back up at him. And then the slowest way is wait for the spike ball to fire you up and then hit him that way. But yeah, just getting used to like pianoing so that you get the jump immediately off these upwards facing seesaws is very useful for this fight because it often doesn't go perfectly, so you have to start improvising at some point. But I'll try and do the perfect fight just to show it once. Oops. And I'm sure that there's a task which does the fight even slightly better than this, so maybe this isn't technically this isn't the perfect fight, but this is the fight that I've seen all the top runners try and go for, so. There we go. And then 1 jump here. Oh, I just missed it, but yeah, that's basically it, if you land that last jump. We're in the final zone, finally. So, scrap brain zone. Full jump to accelerate as fast as possible. Full jumps over these pits. And then full jump to land here. Wait for a second because you're waiting for that rotating wheel to come around past the bit where you want to enter it. Hold down to come out of the wheel as fast as possible and you'll roll all the way to here. And then the glitch for this level. This is the frame you want to jump. You want to do a full jump to be lined up nicely against the wall to get in it as fast as possible. But as long as you're crouching on this platform as it moves towards the wall, you just go into the wall. It's really easy. So I look at this diagonal line, which is just passing behind the moving platform now in the background. When it touches that, I do a full jump here. And then crouch when I land. And then I'll take you into the wall. And as soon as you can't see Sonic anymore in the wall, or a couple of frames past that, you want to press left and then jump shortly after, and you'll bump up against this invisible wall here. There's an invisible wall in line with where I'm moving my mouse that you're kind of aligned up against now. This is an alignment jump that you don't necessarily need to do, but it makes it much easier, so because it's very easy to soft lock here. So once you've aligned up against this wall and you've landed again, you now want to, and I have notes on this somewhere, you can look up as well, I'll try and put those somewhere. You now want to hold left and jump a frame after holding left, or 2 frames, or 3 frames, or 4 frames, or 5 frames, or 6 frames even works. So as long as you jump after holding left, you will not get soft locked by this box unless you have bad horizontal subpixels in this particular position. And hey, Nano, I'll do Descent after I do this marathon, which is going on this weekend, where I'm running Sonic games. But yeah, so not soft lock in this position. If you don't jump properly, you're soft lock here. This is a soft lock because you're trapped by this box. If you do jump properly, you'll get out of the wall like that. Now, there's several ways to do this. So you can either, once you're about here, you can start holding right, and then you'll hit the speed cap. Oh, that's too far. The nicest way to do it, the kind of level 1 way of doing it, is hold right here, you'll hit the speed cap. Oh, I said I'll start doing Descent after this marathon where I have to run Sonic games this weekend. So if you hold right, you'll hit the speed cap and slow down so that you're up here. And then you can do this section level normally, wait for this platform to spawn, and then jump on it, jump on the next one and get over. Alternatively, once you come out of here, you can try and get through another wall past this section. So in order to do that, you have to release left really early. If you release left while Sonic is, it depends on what frame you've jumped after holding left for the initial zip. If you release left about when Sonic is breaking this box, or a frame past this, or even a frame before this in some cases, then it's a 3-frame window, which is always about 9 frames after where you've initially jumped. Then you can wait until the camera's descended. Once this floor of this top section has gone off the top of the screen, hold left, stop holding left and then jump within a short time period before the camera gets over there. And if you've passed through this wall, this is the wall you're trying to pass through, you'll now be on this side of it and above this box, having jumped above this box, so that it hasn't soft locked you. Because again, this is another spot where you'll get soft locked in between this wall and the box, the same as the other way. But if you haven't let go of left within the correct 3-frame window, then you won't have made it through the second wall at all, and you'll have to come back over here and climb up the section normally by hitting this switch, jumping on top of one of these platforms, and then you're back up here doing it the same way. So if we do get through the wall by left jump, we try a couple more times. And it's almost certain that I'm just letting go of left too late here. That's why it's not working. Maybe it's too early. There we go. Yeah, I think I was doing it too early. Yeah, if you do get through the wall, you have to have jumped to be on top of this box without being soft lock right. Wait until these are open. They'll be about open after you've had the time to bounce off the box and then jump and land on the red springs. Move to the right and continue with the level up here, which is the same as where you would have run across if you'd gone over that top section normally. There is another way of doing that, which is only in the IL, where you I can't remember. Press left within an exact 4-frame window, and then you manage to get all the way further zipped into massively further in the level. But that is so ridiculously precise that I haven't seen anyone do it in an actual run. To roll through this worm is dangerous because half the time he hits you anyway, for some reason. So a lot of people like to jump over him. I like to roll through and just try and get lucky anyway, but either way. Holding down all the way through here, I think you can jump against the ceiling there to increase your speed slightly. Once you're at about here, you want to jump so that you land on top of the switch as early as possible. And then climb up this section. There's 2 ways to do this. That is not the way you want to do it. Depending on those floors, those floor platforms, you want to see what cycle they're on to see whether you can do this or not. So let me actually save state. There we go, so... Oh wow, I haven't seen that. Okay, so 3 jumps here, here, and here will get you, hopefully, damage boost to the right of the flame. What you don't want to happen is be damage boost to the left of the flame, and then it's very likely you'll fall down and die. But this saves a second or 2 over just waiting for the flame to go away. So alternatively, you can just jump over the first set of platforms and then wait for the flame. The flame is always going to be in the same place, provided you jump up here provided you jump up here as fast as possible from about the red platform section with the switch, because the flames are triggered by the camera passing onto them, whereas the platforms seem to be cycling. Platforms might also be, but their cycle is much faster, so it's much more variable. But the platforms are the dangerous one. You don't want to be jumping on the platforms as they're turning, obviously. So yeah, just getting a feel for whether you can go for those 3 jumps to make it through the flame. It does, in order to damage through the flame properly, it does normally need to be 3 jumps that you do like that. Whoops. If you fall down here and don't die by landing on one of those, getting lucky, you can just come to the right and start jumping up these sections. But obviously it loses time. But yeah, optimally, you get the damage boost through the flame, which I won't be able to do here because these platforms seem to always be on this cycle. So you can wait for the flame, and just turn around on these slopes and jump up to complete the level. I know there are ways of jumping at the flame with only like 2 jumps and somehow getting a rightwards damage boost through it, but I haven't really found a consistent way. Okay, we come to the second hardest trick in the game, or joint first maybe, I don't know. So in order to level up this level and skip the entire thing, there's 4-ish frame perfect things you have to do. The first is to start holding right as soon as the level loads and jump in this particular spot. So I'll say it when I get it. That was 1 frame too early. The first one was 1 frame too late, that was 1 frame too early. That's the correct frame. So it's when you see yourself pass through this last ring but without picking it up, basically. You can also pause buffer these, and then see how many frames away you are from the correct spot and then jump that many frames after you've unpaused, which does help if you pause early. Here, you wait until once you land on the sorry, I've already skipped over a part. So you've done a full jump and you're holding right the entire time. Just before you land on the wheel, switch to holding down and let go of jump. You'll land on the wheel while holding down and start rolling around it. You pass around the wheel 5 times, so you get to the bottom and you count 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th time. And then you want to jump off the wheel on a frame perfect frame as well, while still holding down the whole time. So I'm on 2 frames before the frame I want to jump off the wheel. So I want to unpause and jump 2 frames after I unpause. And that'll put you in the wall. This is really hard. Get used to it. It's Sonic 1. Once you're in the wall, hold right and you'll zip off to the side of the level. And then in order to hit the signpost at the earliest possible time, you're going to wait until you see this wall go off the left-hand side of the screen, and then hold left and jump. Different to the others, hold left and jump. Do a full jump. You need to do a full jump at some point on this place where you're hitting the signpost in order to get your vertical subpixels in a nice spot to be able to not soft lock. And you'll hear the signpost hit, and you would have hit the signpost, but we're far above where the signpost is. The signpost's like hitbox extends vertically forever, so the signpost is just like a screen or two below us right now. And there's a lot to this next section. Let me try and explain it. Don't move as the score screen stops, and you're looking to pause on a certain frame. So the frame you want to pause on is 2 frames after this. Oh, this one, in fact. So with this particular orientation of the background, because I've hit the sign early, I've got some glitching in the background here. So normally there's a big pink square if you hit the sign slightly later than this. There's a big pink background element in this square here. But either way, you want to pause when you see this corner of the ground, kind of just past halfway of this square here. When you're on this glitched background, it helps because you get to see this line here. Seeing this line on screen for like the first frame after the ground has moved past it means you're paused on the right frame. You don't have to. This frame is like the most lenient of all of them because you can kind of correct it because you're using this to fall at a particular horizontal spot as you hit the right side of the level boundary in a second. So this is the nicest one to pause on. You can pause a frame later than this and still be in the right position. You can pause a frame earlier than this, but then you have to realize that you have done so, and so wait until a frame has passed after you unpause before you start holding right. If you pause in this correct frame, hold right and unpause, and jump as late as possible as you run off this corner. That was not very late, but this might still be okay. As you are about to hit the level boundary, because the camera is panning over to the right, and the level boundary is moving with it over to the right. So I've hit the level boundary on the right here, it's invisible. As you're about to hit it, let go of right, and let go of jump, and pause. And then, to see where you're going to be landing here, unpause and pause as fast as you can as you move downwards here. So what we're trying to do is move left on exact frames. There are only exact frames that work, that get you onto the position you want to be. So I'll just show it. If you just press nothing and fall down here, you'll be on this side of this laser, which you don't want to be. This is a failure out of this glitch after getting the 3 other frame perfect things and then failing this one. Feels bad, man. But you can try again. You're not soft locked by running into Robotnik and letting him hit you, because for some reason he can hurt you. But then you have to try the entire level from the very start again. So there's multiple positions down here, and I haven't seen them documented anywhere very well, particularly. I'll go with the ones that I know, but I know there are more of them. I know there will be more that I do not mention here. This is the first one that I know. Do I narrate for DYKG? No. What? What do you mean? I am confused. Yeah. So I'm looking at vertical positions. Every frame that Sonic moves at this speed is about 1 Sonic's height worth. So this is 1 frame. The next frame will be kind of down here. The next frame will be down here, etc. And these only work if you're in this horizontal. These ones that I'm going to show you now only work if you're in this particular horizontal band, which depends on where you paused on that pause before, and where you jumped on the corner coming off. No, I don't. I don't really. I haven't done a lot of other stuff. Just stuff on my YouTube channel. But yeah, this is the closest you can be to this wall here without landing on it and standing on it. If you landed on this and are standing here, then you failed. I'm sorry. You haven't gone far enough out to the right. If you're on this frame, this works. This frame horizontally, I mean, you can be at least a good 2 or 3 pixels out further horizontally than this. And these positions will still work vertically. So these vertical positions are the ones that I know. 4 or 5 of them, I'll say. This one, if you pause on this frame, all you have to do is hold left and unpause. And you'll be on this side of the laser, which is what you want. I'm going to use frame advance here to get to them sooner. This frame works if you now hold right, unpause, unpause and pause as quickly as you possibly can. So that's about there, and then hold left after you've paused again. Hold left and unpause, and you should land on the right side of the laser that's okay again. Except I have not. Let me do it with actual just in-game pausing instead of emulator pausing, because it's confusing me. I just have to try and hit that frame. There we go. Yeah. So unpause and pause while holding right for like a 3 or 4 frame window, I guess it is. Whatever that is. And then hold left and unpause, and you should get on there. That's the second one that works. The next one that works that I know of is 1 frame before this. There. This one is the hold left and unpause, and you're in there. The next frame after that I know of is in between these 2 pipe elbows here. 1 frame before this. Here, this one is a hold left and unpause. And get in there. And the last one I know in this position is, oh no, second last one I know is this one. On this line, hold left and unpause, it works. And then the last one is the last possible frame, which is 1 before this. This one, hold left and unpause. And you get on this side. All of those work for getting on this side of the laser. And there are more of them for sure. Especially when your position has changed horizontally, that you're slightly too far out of the wall. If I was, say, if Sonic was like far enough to the right here, that he wasn't intercepting this wall anymore, that you could see like all of his body outside this wall, these frames probably wouldn't apply. And there are a couple of different ones, but less of them, which then work in that scenario. Which I won't go over now, because there's too much stuff and I have to go soon. So all that's left to do is final Scrap Brain 3, and then I won't go over Final Zone because I'll just post a number and you figure it out. You can watch any run of the top runners and their final split will be called that. The Final Zone is easy. For all you need to do for this one is jump on the button, hold right and jump all the way over here, and then jump back. And the platform, that'll load the platform down here in a different way, so that when you look up, it'll deload underneath your feet here. Once this has happened, tap left and then right, so you move left and right to do a little fast acceleration. And then the goal is to jump within 1 or 2 frames after hitting the floor, so that you don't reload the platform. And then you'll have slope glitch. And be able to go up here. Keep holding right until you've started zipping off to the left a bit, and then switch to holding left. And you'll go back over here all the way to the loading zone of the last level. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about the run for now, and I need to go, so just to inform you of the final zone, I guess, all you have to do is hold right without pressing anything else as soon as the level starts, and he will always be in the same order as long as you don't press anything while you're hitting him. And I'll come back and edit this and actually put it up as a video on YouTube, hopefully, but thanks for anyone who's hanging around. And sorry for anything I missed, but I'll see you guys later.